Test 1 2, test 1 2. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of the Preston Sports Podcast. Gosh dang, has it been a minute? How are you guys doing? How's life? My life, I'm slightly mildly depressed because of the Browns underperforming. But, I have some good news, and that is what this podcast is about. Before I get super into that, don't forget, you know what the deal is. Like, subscribe, boop the notification bell. I'll give you a couple seconds to do so. Alright, I hope you guys did a lot in that 5 seconds I gave you, but let's just hop right into what we're talking about today. And I believe the title will be something like this, but just so you guys aren't confused, this is an Odell Beckham appreciation video. Odell Beckham Jr. of the Cleveland Browns, in case you were curious. I think that Odell is overhated, incredibly so. And I'm not trying to say he's one of the best receivers in the league. I'm not even trying to say he's a top 15, top 20 receiver in the league. I think Odell, someone can be someone can be a receiver, and you could say, he's so overrated. And if everyone says he's overrated, then he somehow becomes underrated. It's kind of what happened to Baker. Everyone said Baker was underrated. I was one of those people. But then Baker became overrated. And now we're confused. We're confused as to what Baker is. I'm not. Most people, stupid people are. But Odell, at one point, one of the NFL's best receivers, dealt with some injuries. And then left New York, came to Cleveland. Excuse me, it's not a Preston Sports Podcast, so I don't yawn. Left New York, came to Cleveland, and then expectations were so built up for what was going to happen. Oh, second-year quarterback Baker Mayfield, man's got a cannon on him. Odell Beckham, he can stretch the field. He's a star receiver. This duo is going to be so great together. And then it just hasn't been that way. But I think that because Odell hasn't been putting up the numbers he put up in New York, or I think that the reason why Odell is considered overrated now is because he's not putting up the numbers that he was putting up in New York. And I think that is an incredibly high standard to hold him to. You look at the New York Giants from 2014 to 2000, I'll say 17, because 18 they got a special young running back named Saquon Barkley. But who was the offense? So obviously I say, think of a New York Giant, you'll probably think of Eli Manning or Saquon Barkley. But who was the best New York Giant 2014, 15, 16? Someone said Landon Collins, and you're close, but it was Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. was by far the best Giant, at least the best offensive player on the Giants during that time. Because of that, Odell Beckham Jr. was the focal point of that offense. If I can pull up my favorite website, Pro Football Reference, I don't know if I can get how many targets he got in his years. Yeah, so you're looking at him getting, for his first 3 years in New York, from 2014, 15, 16, he's getting 130, 158, 169 targets. That is insane. That is insane. That's a lot of targets. That is a lot of targets for a receiver to get. But that's how good he was. And then this is something that is very important to me. You go to Cleveland. In year 1, he got 133. In year 2 in Cleveland, he got 43, and so far this year he has 27. And in case you're confused, the reason why I'm making this video now is because Odell on Sunday hurt his shoulder. He has a grade 3 AC joint sprain in his shoulder. I believe his left shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's his right, I'm not positive. But it was confirmed that he's going to play tonight against the Broncos with Case Keenum. And I'll talk about a little bit about Odell as a person in just a second. But I think as a football player, he's held to his high standard because of what he did in New York and, the amazing catch and the dozens of other amazing one-handed catches he's made. And people expect him to be that same person or that same player with the Browns. And that's just not what it is. He has a very different role in the offense. He's not the focal point. And so I would just appreciate it if people would stop holding him to a standard. And it's not like he's complaining about it. People talk about the press conference from last week where he said, I would be lying if I said I didn't want the ball or something like that. I want the ball. Because he said he feels like he's a shooter in comparing himself to basketball players. He feels like he's a shooter. You don't pay a shooter to watch him play defense. You pay him to shoot because that's what he's good at. And Odell is good when you get the ball in his hands. That's non-negotiable. But that section is taken out of context. If you watch the rest of that interview, he says, I want to win a championship. And he said, I feel like I'm in a great spot to do that right now in Cleveland. He's not asking to leave Cleveland. He wants to win a championship, and he recognizes that the team you have in Cleveland is not one that you have often. That many talented players on one roster is not something you have often. He also said that, because of all that talent, everyone's going to have their day. Nick Chubb will have a good day. Or maybe another day, Kareem will have a good day. Maybe Jarvis will have over 100 yards. The next day, Donovan Peoples-Jones will have over 100 yards. Then Odell will have 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He understands that he's not the focal point of the offense. He understands that not only is he not the focal point of the offense because there's so many other talented players, but because of his talent and his status and the respect he's gathered around the league. Because, sure, we can listen to the media, the sports media people, who I hate, all of them, by the way, because they're all stupid. It's all about clicks for them. It's not really about what sports or the true representation of players and who they are as players. But they can be like, oh, Odell's not what he was. The people, the coaches, the defensive coordinators in the NFL, they'll still double cover him. Put Odell in single coverage every play. See what happens. You're gonna roll your safeties to Odell's side of the field. Because if you don't, he's going to make you pay. I understand Odell's not what he was. That doesn't mean he's some sucker. Anyways, the NFL respects Odell. It's just the people who cover it don't. As a player, he's never going to be what he was. I just don't think that's possible. Because of the injuries he sustained. And the injuries are the next part I want to go to. Odell Beckham Jr. has dealt with so many injuries in his career. You figured he missed his first couple games to injury. Odell has played, I don't know if anyone knew this, but Odell has played 2 full seasons in his career. He's played 1 full season where he played in every game and he started every game, and that was 2016. The second season where he played in every game was his first year in Cleveland. He didn't start every game. I'm not sure why he didn't start every game. I can't think of a specific scenario of why that would be the case, but that was Freddie Kitchens. He had no idea what he was doing. Anyways, any chance Odell has had to play through an injury, he has done it. And if you can't respect him as a person for what he's done off the field, you want to talk about kicking the net, the fights on the field, sure, have your issues with that. But do not question this man's love for the sport. And I hope that's never been in question. And I'm not going to excuse the fight he got into with Josh Norman. That was childish and pathetic. Kicking the net, I think people made a big deal about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think what people need to, they viewed it as a hissy fit of him not getting the ball enough. He wanted the ball more. I think that there's a lot of people who have not played football who talk too much about people who play football. I understand. I've watched the sport for 40 years. That's great. You have no idea what it's like to play the sport of football. Football is a very emotional sport. Whenever you're on the field, at least for me personally, I'm not thinking about me. I'm representing a whole lot more than me out there. And, maybe Odell thought a little bit too much of himself and his image during the Josh Norman thing. I don't know. But what I'm thinking of every time I get on the line of scrimmage, whether I'm on offense or defense, how can I help win? How can I help my team win? And I've been on the side where I feel like I'm not getting the playing time, I'm not getting the reps I should be getting, and I get pretty pissed off. Because if you feel like you can help your team win more than who the coach is putting in, if the coach is getting the ball to everyone except you when you're the best player on the team, because let's not get it twisted, Odell was the best player on that team, I'm going to be mad. And sometimes you see red, and that's fine. I don't think it's a problem for you to see red. He didn't make a big deal about it. He had that joke where he hugged the net, gave it a kiss, made up with it. I thought that was cool. I don't know if he's ever done anything made up with Josh Norman, but Odell's a passionate guy who cares about the sport of football, and people will misconstrue that because he's a celebrity as well as a football player. But that being said, he plays through so much. And one of the reasons why, I forget if it was 2017 or 2018, but he hurt his ankle and he continued to play through it, and that's what made his ankle worse. And people be like, oh, put your pride aside. Shut up and just take your rest. That's easy to say, but as a football player, if I feel like I can play through an injury, I'm gonna play through an injury. And I've done that before, where it happened to me last football season. I hyperextended my MCL, and I said, you can keep playing, but you might make it worse. I said, shoot, I'm gonna keep playing, and I ended up tearing my MCL. I don't regret what I did. I did what I could because I wasn't going to be back for the season anyways. Hyperextending your MCL kind of late in the year, you're not going to be back. So you're like, screw it. Might as well give it my all now, and I'll just rehab in the off season. That's what I did. I think that people need to give Odell credit. And as a Browns fan specifically, I'm going to go Cleveland Odell for a second. We'll forget about New York Odell. Let's go to 2019. Gets traded to the Browns. His first year on a new team. Has a sports hernia the entire season. He didn't say anything about it either. It's not like he came up to training camp, man, I got this sports hernia I'm working through right now. He did not make it known until he got the surgery in the offseason that he had a sports hernia. All season long. Odell's really just not producing. Baker and Odell can't get it together. The Browns suck. Odell should get traded. This and that. Odell could have said, I'm playing with a sports hernia right now. Didn't say anything about it until he got the surgery done. I respect that, not only as a football player, but as a person. I respect that. Because he took that criticism every week. He took it to the chin, kept his head up, and went out there and tried his freaking best every single week. And with that hernia, he still put up 1,000 yards. Some NFL receivers can't put up 1,000 yards, and he did it with a hernia. You go to his next year in Cleveland. Another offense he's learning. New offensive coordinator, new head coach. He's learning everything. Along with the rest of the receivers in the Browns, or on the Browns team, he had a slow start to the year. Now, everyone else picked up later in the year. He didn't get that chance because he tore his ACL. But I don't know why I'm getting slightly emotional talking about this, but he tore his ACL and he got the surgery done, and he worked his butt off to come back from that. And I know he didn't come back for the start of the season. He missed the second game too. But the fact that he was a game-time decision for week 1, he was running team drills in training camp. Do you know how many hours he must have worked every single day to come back from that? Because it's not like at the professional level, you develop muscle memory, especially in your knees. So you think about it, your ACL, I believe it's on the outside of your leg. Yeah, it's on the outside of your leg. And whenever you plant your leg, it's the muscle that keeps your knee straight. So like it won't go out, won't go in, it keeps your knee straight. As a receiver, that is big because you're coming out of your breaks really fast, so you need strong muscles in all over your legs. And so he had to completely relearn how to do that. Not necessarily relearn how to run a route, but he had to build that. He had to get that muscle put back together, recover from the surgery, and regrow that muscle. And he did it all in like 10 months. That is insane. The work ethic he's shown as a football player has been insane. He doesn't take plays off. Like every play, he's going 100%. And so I've talked for 16 minutes about Odell Beckham Jr. I will be wearing Odell's jersey for the game tonight. Yeah, shout out Odell. I hope you ball out tonight, brother. Let them Broncos know what's good. I would like to thank everyone for listening. Everyone, just congratulate Odell. Fighting through a lot to play tonight. Round of applause for Odell. I will talk to you guys later. Knowing me, I'll talk to you guys in 3 weeks. Peace out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, boop the notification bell, and I will see you guys later. Peace.